Is Thursday, September 21st. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by the St. Johns River Water Management District. And now, a guy who's got the Alabama game this weekend, mainly because he lost a bet, J.P. Shadrick.
Gambling's illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice. Welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, and it is Thursday. It's week 3, and the Texans are coming to town this week. Busy 2 hours ahead. Yes, the Texans and the Jaguars. The Texans haven't lost here in forever, it seems like. 5 straight trips to Jacksonville. Houston has knocked off the Jaguars. Offensive improvement needed for the Jags this week. Situational football last week, not great. Red zone, goal to go, third downs. We'll get to some reasons why coming up. The Jaguars defense is playing steady, though. Playing pretty well, in fact, as a unit. And we'll hear from the head coach, Doug Pederson, joining us in studio for, you guessed it, the Doug Pederson Show. That's at 5 o'clock on the Jaguars Radio Network and right here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Also, today was Coordinator Day at the Miller Electric Center. Press Taylor getting a share of criticism this week after last week's offensive performance, but he's heard it all before.
I was in Philly for 8 years. That's fair. So, no, I mean, outside noise doesn't affect us inside. And I'm here pretty much all day, every day, so I really don't have social media, don't listen to the radio, don't watch TV. I mean, I don't really have time to, so you're kind of ignorance is bliss. So, yeah, that doesn't really bother me at all.
Well, that's what it is on the offensive side. On the other side of the ball, coordinator Mike Caldwell has to face another rookie quarterback for the second time in 3 weeks. It's C.J. Stroud this time around.
He's a guy I kind of knew a little bit coming into the college. My brother-in-law was with him, and I kept hearing about him. You know, great college quarterback, and he can do this. But when I watch him on film, he's poised. He's poised back there. He hasn't thrown an interception yet, and he's completing so many. I think he's like up in the 60% of his completion. So he's a guy that's poised, has good accuracy, and, you know, he's a quarterback that stands back in the pocket and makes good decisions.
That's the defensive coordinator, Mike Caldwell. The full availabilities on Jaguars.com and the Jaguars YouTube channel. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube as well. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman, who jumps in now. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, JP.
A lot going on around here this week. You know, it's
well, nothing more than normal.
Well, I mean, this is it. It feels like, hey, they didn't play great last week. Obviously, on the offensive side,
that's the difference.
That's the real difference.
Yeah.
And it's a division game coming up, and there's a 2-week trip to London after that against 2 pretty good football teams. So you need to get this one going.
Yeah.
That's down the road.
Yeah. You
okay.
can't.
We're all looking at it.
Yeah, and I know because you're trying to figure out what you're going to wear. I know you're big over there in London. Yeah, big.
Like Hasselhoff, big in Europe.
But yeah, I mean, it's if you look at the big picture, I mean, this is an important game. You know, in a big picture, you shrink it down to this week because what does this week matter? Well, you know, if you're kind of who you thought you were going to be, this is a game you're supposed to win. You know, rookie quarterback at home, okay, and division opponent. You should win this game, right?
Well, this is, you know, you go down game by game. This is one you checked, W, right?
Right, and I think mainly because it's against a rookie quarterback. And if you look at the Texans, they're in rebuilding mode still for the most part. They've got a young, rising head coach in DeMeco Ryans, who has made one of the fastest ascents to a head coaching job in the National Football League. He did a great job in San Francisco, but also had a wealth of talent. And can he do the same thing in Houston? My question there is where's the talent? You know, I think C.J. Stroud is a wonderful player. In fact, I would have taken him over Bryce Young all day long. And I think that the Carolina Panthers are at some point are going to sit there and go, what did we do? We picked the wrong guy.
And they traded the house to go up and get him, too.
Oh, I mean, a ton. Mm-hmm. But I think the Texans were, I mean, you talk about doing a really good job. They did a great job because they stay put and they selected who I think was the better quarterback. Now they screwed up on the next pick, in my opinion. Well, they traded the farm.
Yeah.
to get Anderson.
Will Anderson, right, yeah.
I mean, they traded away the 12th, the 33rd pick in this past spring's draft, and then next year's first and a third. If you do that, you have to have a generational talent. Is Will Anderson Jr. a generational talent like Myles Garrett?
I mean,
Aaron Donald?
2 games in, no. But,
Chris Jones?
You never know in time, right?
Well, I mean,
you don't know.
Maybe in time.
They're betting on that.
Well, I hope he isn't.
Not this week.
And so far, when you watch the film, he doesn't show me the traits that he is.
Okay.
Like when Myles Garrett steps foot on a football field from day one, and when you watch the college film on him, you went, total freak.
Uh-oh.
Total freak.
How do we block this guy?
Chris Jones, when you watch him play, total freak. I just don't see that with – I think Anderson's going to be a good player, but you can't trade that many picks. But I think the Texans felt like they had a little bit of flexibility to do that because they had the trade with Deshaun Watson getting shipped off to Cleveland. Now we've got a luxury of picks, and I think it was a poor decision, but maybe it'll turn out to be a great decision.
Yeah, their view in Houston is, hey, new head coach, let's stockpile him with a couple of very high first-round picks. At least you have a base guy on each side of the ball.
Yeah, they want a building block.
Yeah,
right. Then when you believe that one of those players is going to be a true building block generational player, then you got to go all in on it. I don't see it with Will Anderson Jr.
All right, more on the Texans coming up in just a little bit, but boy, this week has been dominated by the Jaguars' offense and the lack of production last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. No touchdowns in the game, 0 for 3 in the red zone. Trevor Lawrence was 0 for 7 passing in the red zone, and the Jaguars settled for 3 field goals in the game and lost. And that's been a topic all week long. How do they get back on track? And it's still the storyline of, hey, some plays were there. Guys were open in certain instances or – just didn't execute the play that as it was meant to be run in certain moments. So you got to move past that. You got to practice better. Doug Pederson said they didn't really practice that well last week. That's a little concerning. So we'll hear from him coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll ask him, how does that improve this week? But when your team's not practicing well, I mean, how do you improve that? How do you get them to go better?
Well, look, I don't think the team has been practicing poorly all year. I don't think that's it. Maybe they had a bad day or maybe a bad couple days last week, which is not what you want to see. But, look, I've been on teams that you've had bad practice weeks before, and then you came out on game day and we crushed an opponent. So sometimes practice can be a difficult indicator. I mean, for the most part, consistently, week in and week out, if you're practicing well or not practicing well, then that obviously is a trend. But if you have an occasional bad practice, sometimes that happens.
How do you snap out of that, though?
Well,
Can you do it mid-practice or no?
That's the not an easy answer. It's an answer I think that requires multiple improvements in different areas. We start up front, right? Because you always hear that term. It always starts up front. Well, the offensive line's got to play better. Okay, well, you know what? I think in that game against Kansas City, the coach has got to help out the offensive line too. I mean, when Chris Jones lines up on Anton Harrison and proceeds to beat him up the first couple times, you've got to send somebody over to help him out. Okay? And I'm talking about sending an assassin to help him out. And what I mean by an assassin –
yeah, please explain.
Look, one of the greatest deterrents to pass rushers is a running back shoulder or a helmet in the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to one of the greatest Jaguars of all time, and I'm a huge fan of Fred Taylor.
We all are.
Jaguars versus the Tampa Bay Bucks back in the day. Simeon Rice was the great pass rusher of the Tampa Bay Bucks. All it took was one helmet to the ribs from Fred to Simeon, and then Simeon Rice came off the line of scrimmage the rest of the game looking for Fred. The rest of the game. So if you've got Chris Jones, send a message. And I think maybe, I don't want to say they were caught off guard, but here's a guy that just signed and he hasn't even been practicing with the team. How many reps is he going to get in the game? how effective can he be, right? I mean, all these things were being talked about.
Yes, they were.
By the media. Well, the same things that typically are talked about by the media are also talked about at times by the coaches. And so once he started to have success, you had to adjust. They didn't adjust. So the offensive line's got to be better across the board. It wasn't just Anton, because when Chris Jones lined up elsewhere, he had success. And the offensive line didn't do great overall. So the offensive line's got to be better. The receivers need to catch the balls that are thrown their way. There were some drops. Right now in the season, you got 5 in the wide receiver group, 4 in the wide receiver group, 1 at the running back position. Last year, I believe you led the league in drops. So you got to catch the ball when there are opportunities there. And then Trevor was a little bit off the mark.
Seemed high. Like he was just like
high.
Everything was high.
High, and needs to have a little better confidence about him. And did you ever feel like he was in command and he was the captain on the field, from watching it?
That later drive when they got the big pass to Christian Kirk and they're moving the ball and they're getting up to the line. Okay, now we had a little something going. That was kind of when I felt it, but that was about the only time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just body language, it's performance too. And a lot of times when the performance comes and the positive body language comes, but he's got to be better. And so when all of those things get better, then they'll start executing on offense and they'll have a little bit of consistency. But right now, they're struggling to find their groove. And this week, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because, is Zay Jones going to play? Do you now have a little change of continuity because of that? I don't know. I mean, those are things I think that, you're wondering about, because typically you can get better when you have consistency and you have the same guys. When all of a sudden you start having guys coming in and out of the lineup, then it becomes even a greater challenge to get better.
Doug Pederson said this week also we're starting to run out of early in the season. I mean, it's week 2 going into week 3, and he understands that what they did last year was such an anomaly the down the stretch that you can't waste these opportunities when you're in games.
No, and here's the biggest thing I think why you got to win this game. It's just, look, it's against a rookie quarterback.
Get it done. Right? And the offensive line over there is beat up. Come on.
If you're the division champs, okay, and you're going to be a contender, you can't lose to a division opponent that has a rookie quarterback at the helm in your place. I mean, that's it. I mean, right? Am I wrong?
You sound right to me, yeah.
So
you would think.
I hope that there is a focus and a tenacity about this football team this week, because the Texans organization has been in control of this series for the most part for a long time. How many years has it been since this Jaguars team won a home game?
Against them?
Yeah.
2017.
2017.
When they swept the thing.
Which was the last time that this team was in the playoffs prior to last year. I mean, that's
correct. Yeah.
It's a long time. And then what, out of the last 10 games, how many of the Jaguars won?
One. The last time out, last season.
In Houston.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, let's go.
Well, you gotta, at some point, you got. Now, a lot of teams have those kind of numbers against this organization. Let's be honest. In the last 4 or 5 years.
Well,
right?
yes, but
however,
but
you gotta end them at some point. Let's go.
But I don't know if there's a team that has that good of a win percentage against the Jaguars.
All right.
And when you play a division opponent, because like for example, let's say Kansas City. Kansas City's been an amazing team for a long period of time. I mean, having a division opponent, that's kind of the great equalizer between a great team in a division and one that's not great. It's always tough because it's a division game, right? That's always the saying. That's always talked about. And it hasn't been the case with this Houston franchise. And there's a little bit of a link kind of in history with, the expansion draft and Baselli being drafted and Dom Capers being their coach, and then he came here, and, a lot of different things that have happened over the years. But this is a new day and a new age, and it's time to turn the tables a little bit.
Just annoying to me, like the J.J. Watt era, and like him being so dominant, and like
they played great
defense, and just whatever it was, just frustrating.
J.J. Watt, I mean, you talk about
when he was in his prime. Yeah,
Clowney when he was there,
when he was healthy in there,
disruptive.
Yeah, sure.
The other defensive end that they had, for a really good player that was a pass rusher. They had great linebackers. D'Amico Ryans was one of them.
I mean, Cushing was there, right?
Brian Cushing, excellent player.
They had defensive backs. They had
A.J. Boye, who the Jaguars stole in free agency in 2017, good football player. I mean, they've had some defense there now.
Got to win this one. Let's put it that way. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Glad you're with us. Back in a moment, and we will discuss this game further. What does this Texans offense have to offer outside of C.J. Stroud, and how do the Jaguars take advantage this week? And then at 4:30, Kai Stevens joining us in studio. We're off and running. It is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free Coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie this football season, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Jaguars Happy Hour rolling along on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. We're on Jaguars.com, the official team website, and Jaguars YouTube, the team's official YouTube channel. All the content there throughout the week. Anything you want from this department and others, Jaguars related, it's right there on the free internet website. All right, so the Texans are coming to town. C.J. Stroud, we talked about him a good bit here. Two-time Heisman finalist, 2 games in, no interceptions. He's getting hit a lot.
But I want people to remember about C.J. Stroud is that he's not a runner. at all.
No, that's not his MO.
He is real. I mean, and he's not great at extending the play or anything like that. He does a pretty good job, but he's a pocket passer through and through, and has a level of arm talent that, if his offensive line can give him time, he will slice and dice you up a little bit now. I mean, he's pretty good. And when I say pretty good, I mean he's talking about a rookie who has 58 passes, hasn't thrown an interception yet. And last week, how many yards did he throw for?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I wrote it down. It was 384 yards.
Yeah.
Threw for 384 yards. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, it's a tremendous performance that he had. And he's been doing it without a lot of production or help from an offensive line and a running game, which is even more impressive. You know, Dameon Pierce, right? The surprise rookie last year that wowed us.
Yeah.
And we were watching him going, wow, man, Dameon Pierce really good get for the Texans, 4th-round pick, UF guy, you know. And Stroud doesn't have him at his A game to help him out. Pierce is averaging less than 3 yards a carry, like 2.65 yards a carry.
Who scares you in the passing game for them, though?
Nico Collins.
Nico's the one.
Nico Collins. And Nico Collins was a 3rd-round pick a couple years ago, and I remember watching him last year because his rookie year he didn't see the field hardly at all. And then last year he started to show flashes. Well, last week against the Colts, he had a career day.
Big.
7 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown. And Stroud is so accurate down the field. I mean, that's kind of a dangerous combination. You know, Robert Woods is the guy on the other side, veteran guy, has been around the block, been with the Bills, been with the Rams, probably like 2 or 3 other places. I think, what he with Tennessee for a while,
Maybe,
too?
Yeah. SC guy, right?
Yeah.
Southern Cal.
Been around forever. He's solid. And then they have another rookie kind of as a 3rd wide receiver, a 3rd-round pick out of Houston called Tank. His name is Tank Dell. I mean, young player. But Nico Collins, he's long. They list him at 6'4", 215, and the dude can fly. I mean, fly. So if I'm going to match up, which I don't know if they will or not, maybe they're going to just play sides, I want to have the long Tyson Campbell on him just because of the length and catch radius that Nico Collins has.
Is this a zone game, or can you
I don't know.
man
I
up a little
think
bit?
you can man up. I think you can man up. You know, because Stroud is not a runner.
That's right.
Then I think you got to be willing to bring pressure on a guy who's been sacked 11 times and who's not a moving target. He's kind of going to be where you expect him to be. And so I think you got to mix it up. I mean, I don't think this is a game where you sit there and you go, okay, Anthony Richardson, we want to keep all eyes on the quarterback.
Contain him in the pocket, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I don't think you're necessarily worried about some of that stuff, but the one thing that you do have to realize is that if you send the blitz and nobody is flashing, okay, at the quarterback, then he has the arm talent to throw a 30-yard strike down the field. So you better make sure you do it without being the ultimate aggressor, which is playing cover 0. You don't want to do anything like that. You want to make sure that you're keeping a safety back there.
Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home. Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Texans defense. What kind of setup do they employ here? I mean, it's the first year for DeMeco Ryans. They've got some new faces there. A couple of rookies are starting for them, including Will Anderson. Henry To'oTo'o is a linebacker in the starting lineup as well. But Shaq Griffin's going to get some time, it sounds like, this week. There's some injuries on the back end of this defense, too.
Yeah, well, let's kind of start a little bit of where DeMeco Ryans has been, because the defensive coordinator is Matt Burke. Okay, but DeMeco Ryans is his defense with his guy, okay, that he brings in.
Yeah.
And DeMeco Ryans was a positional coach in San Francisco under who? Robert Saleh.
Who was under Gus.
Who was under Gus Bradley here in Jacksonville,
Right, yeah,
who
okay.
was under Pete Carroll. So that's the Gus Bradley, Pete Carroll defensive coaching tree, however you want to consider it. So this is a defense that's not going to be exotic. It's going to be where you kind of expect them to be, but they play fast. And so from a schematic standpoint, you're getting a little familiarity from week one of the Indianapolis Colts. So that's good. Personnel-wise, they're different. Very talented in the back end, but they've been beat up a little bit. Both safeties were out last game, and one of the safeties, Jimmy Ward, spent a lot of time in San Fran, and D'Amico Ryans brings in a veteran guy from his program in San Francisco to help kind of bring this new defense to Houston. Jalen Petrie, who was a draft pick last year, second-round pick, had a really good rookie season, is the other safety. But both of those guys did not play this past game against Indianapolis. They were out. The corners are pretty talented. And when I say pretty talented, the guy that's probably the least talented of the three is probably not who you'd expect, but Steve Nelson, Tavier Thomas, and then Derek Stingley Jr., who was the third overall pick last year, one pick ahead of Sauce Gardner.
Yes.
Of the New York Jets.
Correct.
And Stingley has been
injured, first of all.
Well, injured in his career so far, but has been viewed as widely a disappointment compared to the Sauce Gardner pick. I mean, if you could redraft,
well, I mean, if hindsight is 20/20 in anything.
Always is, but if there was a redraft, I don't know if Derek Stingley even goes in the first round. I mean, I think that's how far he would have fallen or would fall in a redraft.
Well, it sounds like he's not going to be available this week anyway.
Hurt a hamstring yesterday in practice.
Wow.
So okay, here comes a familiar face, Shaq Griffin.
Wearing number 0, by the way.
Yes. Wearing number 0, and was a free agent here 2 years ago, 21? And then last year on IR.
Well, he gave up the long touchdown at the end of the Colts game up there and then went on IR after that with a back injury. I think he actually had surgery in the offseason.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And
this is not like the Jalen Ramsey kind of thing. I think he actually went under the knife.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did. He had back surgery. Could he have delayed it?
Well, that's up to hey, that's beyond our control.
That's right. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't.
You try to have guys try to play through some things, because everybody plays hurt. But
can you attack him? Or is it designed differently the way they play defense to protect him?
Well, it's a zone, which is good for Shaq, So, but look, Shaq's a solid player. He's not a liability. I think in Houston, he's a backup mainly because back surgery, unproven. They've got some talent there, and obviously a high pick. So how will this team look with him? I don't think that this is going to be a major problem for them. I think they're going to be just fine.
If his man covers, he couldn't do. Right.
I think Shaq will be a starter, and then Tavier Thomas, your nickel guy, he ends up staying at the nickel. Shaq moves in to the starting corner role, and I don't know if I'd call this a revenge game for him, but when a guy's got a match against his ex-team, you always want to play well.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Against your old team, your old teammates.
Griffin revenge game.
Have a little conversation, with the guys out there. I'm sure he'll be talking a little bit, to Christian, Evan, and those guys. Why not?
I'm sure they're going to just. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. Nothing.
I don't know.
Probably not much. All right, we'll come back in a moment. Kai Stevens standing by. Jaguars reporter will join us in studio. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up this Sunday at the bank. A 1 o'clock kickoff time. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for the best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner and guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com. Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We're on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Kai Stevens, Jaguars reporter.
Hello.
In studio.
Nice to see you guys.
Hello. It's nice to see you, and it's nice to be seen. Yes.
Always.
What's happening?
Not much. I'm excited. We got all access tonight. We got Texans on Sunday, and we got a trip in a couple weeks.
Yeah. We got
less than a week now, I guess.
Who do we got tonight?
Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, good.
He's great.
That was a good get.
We've had some good guests so far. So.
It was his 8th career 100-yard game this past week. And unfortunately, they couldn't finish off all the yardage he got with touchdowns.
I know, one grab of the ankle away from.
I know, right? That would have changed the whole dynamic of that game.
Yeah, he didn't. Look, we were talking earlier about how they can get better on offense, and I said, don't drop the ball. And Christian had a good game, but he was guilty of a drop as well. I mean, the one that hit him right there. So when you start talking about getting better, you got to make sure that they're looking in that mirror and looking at home first, sweeping up the front step first before you start sweeping up other steps.
Before you start pointing to other people's porches,
That's right.
Okay, is that how it works?
That's right.
I guess so. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about the O-line this week, Kai, and really the first 2 weeks. You had DeForest Buckner week 1, Chris Jones last week. This week they've got a rookie in Houston, Will Anderson Jr., and a couple other guys that can play. So this is you don't think see Logs isn't buying into that, but from a Jags offensive line perspective, they better approach it that way, or it could be a long day.
They should, and if it looks bad this week, then we have a big problem, right?
Yes.
So obviously they've had some injuries. We've reported on that throughout camp, and they're a little banged up, but that's not an excuse. They need to figure out what works for them. I know Cam will be back in a couple of weeks, so hopefully that helps, but in the meantime, they got to figure out how to protect Trevor so he's time to throw the football.
That's going to be, and here's the thing. Cam plays left tackle, and probably the best performing guy out of the 5 so far has been Walker Little at left tackle.
I agree, but he's also the most versatile, so that's why you're like, he'll be good wherever we put him. I think, I would assume that's what they're going to do, because you can't put Cam anywhere else.
I think this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I really believe so, because you say that Walker Little is versatile. Well, where else has he started in his career? Nowhere.
Right tackle.
Not a start. Has he had a start right tackle?
Did he start there? Or did he finish a game there? I can't remember.
I don't know if he had a start there or not. I think he subbed into the game, but I don't think he had a start there. And I don't think all of his starts came at left tackle. And he hasn't played guard in an NFL game yet. So do you feel confident that, okay, well, if we get Cam back, if we want to get stronger, maybe we can put him at a guard spot or another tackle spot? I don't know. That's going to be an interesting kind of deal. See how they do that.
You know what, though? I mean, it might – they feed off of Cam Robinson's attitude, I think, a lot of times, right? Just the way he plays, the way he finishes plays, especially in the run game. Like, Cam Robinson is a fantastic run blocker.
Well, let me just say this. He can finish better, in my opinion, in a run game. When he wants to finish, wow. He's strong. He's big. He can just kind of engross people because of his size.
Yeah.
But sometimes he needs to finish better, which everybody's guilty of that. I mean, that's kind of part of the game in the league now. Some guys aren't finishing well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's not an instant cure. Okay, we got Cam back. We're okay. We're fine. Our offensive line is good to go. Walker Little can plug him in anywhere. I think that, now you got a guy that's back and all of a sudden he's been inactive for a while. And do you disrupt the continuity that you had? And Walker Little's been playing pretty well. I guarantee you, if you had like a survey of the coaching staff, I don't think they'd have one opinion. I think they'd have different.
I don't think there's a right answer either. And I think a lot of it's going to depend on week 3 and week 4, because if they come out and play really well, then it's a lot harder to put Cam back in and just be like, oh, we'll put him there automatically. But if they're still having the same problem, then put him in and then try to figure it out is what I would imagine would happen. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Part of it, too, is if Barch gets better the next 2 weeks, right? I mean, if he's playing well all of a sudden.
They've all got to get better.
All of them do, yes, as a collective group.
Yeah.
But in theory, that would be the place where you would move Walker Little inside as the left guard, right? I mean,
I don't see. Well, he's not going to play center,
right? He's not snapping the ball.
Shalley might can play some center.
He has played a lot of center.
He's done a little bit of that,
right? But I mean, you got a second-year center there who's going to be out there. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I don't see Walker Little going to right tackle.
But they are banged up.
You got a rookie right tackle, first-round guy. I mean, so there's only so many positions on the field.
There's 5, JP.
What if they just played 6 offensive linemen
and
pounded the football, and a fullback and 2 tight ends and run the Penn State offense?
Who's going to play fullback? There's no fullback on the roster.
Well, figure out somebody. Put
Blake Hansen.
Strange can do it. Yeah, put another one. Put all of them in there.
Get 7 offensive linemen out there.
People wanted to run the ball last week. Well, guess what? There's your answer to run the ball.
You guys been hanging out with Tony too much. You want to play with 7 offensive linemen.
Unbelievable. It's Kai Stevens, JP Shadrick, and Jeff Lageman. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. And if you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, Jaguars defense, Kai, is playing well, right? They're taking the ball away when it's there. 5 takeaways on defense, 1 on special teams this year. But they're not letting huge plays loose, and they're a good collective group right now.
I don't think any of us would have picked the Jaguars defense to be, the savior of this team at this point. I mean, we talked about the offense at nauseum, and now it's the defense coming through, which you like to see. And I have to imagine the offense is going to come around, and then if the defense can play even half of what they're doing for the rest of the year, that's going to bode well for the team. I think going up against a rookie quarterback in your first week and your third week is definitely going to help that, especially Stroud, who likes to stick in the pocket. And unfortunately, his line, they have some troubles as well. What is 11 sacks so far this year for him? That's tough. So it should be a long day for him if the Jags defense gets it all together as they should.
I wish Baselli were here for this, so I'm going to read this, okay?
Okay. What?
The PFF came out with their offensive line rankings.
Boy, Pro Football Focus. That's his favorite, by the way. He loves those.
He
guys.
loves this. He would love this part of our show, wouldn't he?
Sure he would.
Okay.
Yes.
Who's worst? Texans or Jaguars, according to PFF? Just out offhand.
Well, according to
be-
PFF, it's probably us, but
It's got to be the Texans, right? I mean, they're on like their third center and like seventh guard. I mean, it's like, what are we doing?
It's
gotta be
the
them.
Texans, 31.
so what are we?
29.
What is this? Just
You were
collective?
thinking 32,
I
weren't
thought we
you?
were gonna be like, are you going to say we're 32?
Ooh, not DAL. All right, that's good. So that's just like collective everybody's rankings all season long on your line. Is that what that is?
What's that?
The ranking. How do they get the ranking?
How do they get it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they've got
That's the thing. I don't
they've
know
got
their
some
math
mad
for anything.
scientist that sits back and comes
They
up
just
with the
tell
grade.
us what is what.
I
We
don't
how.
know.
See, Tony's beef with it. Tony Baselli, you might have heard of him, Hall of Famer. His beef is that they don't know what the play was, or the people watching the film to grade it don't know what he was really supposed to do. A lot of
Well,
times.
he's right, and it was me and Tony and Brian Baldinger who was calling the game for national radio,
Yeah.
and Baldy was a former offensive lineman, and we had this very conversation before the game.
what Baldy had
About
to say.
PFF rankings, and Baldy's like, the PFF stuff, it just makes everybody an expert. They don't even have a clue as to what they're supposed to be doing on the offensive line. Because, Baldy's an old school, this guy, and he's great. He's a film junkie, and he knows what the offensive line is trying to accomplish. But I'll just give you this. I think you take everybody's rankings sometimes with a little bit of a grain of salt, especially PFF. I think from a skill position standpoint, it's easier to analyze numbers. But for offensive line and defensive line play, sometimes, unless it's a numbers game like sacks, pressures, etc., sometimes it can be hard to evaluate. And Tony and Baldy are right in that you have to be able to understand what the scheme is to be able to provide a fair assessment or put a grade on something. Okay? So, is it accurate? No. But I think it can be a tool of the overall picture of things.
But it can leave some things
For
out.
example, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line last year. What do you think, or where do you think they might have been ranked at last year?
Pretty high.
Number one.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one rushing team. Okay.
Yeah.
Dynamic in the passing game. And that was legit. I mean, they earned that. They were worthy of that.
Sure.
So you can't argue with PFF's ranking in that category. So anyway, just, with a grain of salt.
Like if you're this is the last at least on my part of this. Kai, you're welcome to go as long as you'd like on this topic. But if you're pulling guard, right, and you're in the right spot, but the running back goes the wrong way and gets tackled, do you get credit for being in the right spot?
Probably
Do
not.
they know that's the spot you're supposed to be
It's
in?
a great question. I don't know
You
the
can't
answer.
control the
Let me
running
call
back
Chris
who
Collinsworth up. Hey, Chris,
goes right.
who's grading this stuff?
But now, all that said, the Jags O-line needs to play better. I think we're all in
They do.
agreement on that.
Yes.
I think they would be in
agree
agreement
that
as
they
well.
don't.
They've said
They
that
shouldn't
all-
be in the top 15, right?
You would hope.
Okay.
You would hope.
They need to get better.
And they've said as such this week. It's what it is. They know it. It's week 3. They're running out of early, as Doug Pederson
I
said.
know.
Here's
they're
the
running
best
out of
part
that.
about this week. I mean, Will Anderson Jr. has name. Okay.
Sure.
3rd overall pick of the draft. Name me somebody else on the Houston Texans front. Just give me a name. I mean, somebody that you might think is
Grenard. Grenard's going to play pretty well.
He's
What's
looking
his
at the,
first
he's
name?
looking at the
Jonathan.
sheet right
Jonathan.
now. He's looking at the
Jonathan
sheet.
is
The
his
cheater.
name. Jonathan.
Jonathan. Is there a Michael maybe?
And
With the inside, Sheldon
Anybody
Rankin's been
else?
around for
Who?
a minute.
Who?
Sheldon Rankins.
Oh.
I think he's a Mississippi
how many different
State
teams
guy.
has he been after being a first-round pick
don't
out of
know.
Louisville? I mean, he's been like playing musical teams.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how good he's been. A first-round pick, and he's been all over the place. But the rest of the guys, I mean, Grenard, Okay, Will Anderson Jr., best guy they got right now.
He's played 2 games.
I know,
You're
and
already
I'm
writing
just
him
telling
off.
you after watching both films, both games, he's the best player they have up front, and he's still a rookie.
He's new,
He's
yeah.
not great. He's solid, good. Solid, good. Right in that.
Solid to good.
Somewhere
What
in
what
that-
are the all the is it excellent, solid, good, poor,
I think good's
terrible?
above solid, right?
Are there 5 rankings? Like, is there
Solid,
like a
solid would be like average.
Solid's middle, good, great, excellent.
You know,
and then what's below that? Like poor and
solid,
terrible.
below average. Or here's a good term, since we're putting new terms on it.
Cut is the lowest one.
Meh. Meh.
Okay. All right, tonight, Jaguars All Access Television.
Yes, we are at Strings tonight. Christian Kirk is our guest for All Access, so he's always a good person to talk to. And if you have any questions about the offense, he'll be there, so you can ask him about it.
Right, I'm sure he would love to hear from you. String Sports Brewery in Springfield. Try the wings.
Okay.
Oh, with the white sauce on them. Come on now.
White sauce.
Oh,
Is it Parmesan?
I'm ordering something tonight.
What
let's
is it?
go.
Is it Parmesan?
No, it's barbecue sauce, but it's mayonnaise based.
Mayonnaise based.
yeah.
Very good.
All right.
Very good on chicken. That's what it's made for, by the way. And then, the burgers are great. The beer's fantastic. And it should be a good crowd tonight, right?
Absolutely. Always is.
How about the burgers and the wings? How many wings do you get with an order?
I think it's 8. I think somewhere in there.
To double up.
I need 8. If I'm going to have a burger, I don't need 8 wings. Can I get a half order of
What,
wings?
are you on a diet? You work out 4 hours a day.
No, I don't.
Why do you need to worry about calories?
JP, you got to, when you get to be my age, JP, you got to take care of yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Can't do those things that you do still,
Kai, we'll see you later. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
It's Kai Stevens, Jaguars reporter, joining us. Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. The injury report when we return. Some names on the list this week, both sides, in fact. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll hear from head coach Doug Pederson on the Doug Pederson Show. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more, or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
You know what you expect at an airport hotel. A bed, a shuttle that's never on time, and if you're lucky, a day-old Danish on your way out the door. But at the Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport, you get a renovated lobby, restaurant, and bar, and 10,000 square feet of luxurious space for memorable family and business events. So stop by, stay a while, and expect to be surprised. Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport. Book online or call 1-877-2-CROWN. That's 1-877-227-6963.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A top public university with more than 100 majors, UNF is #1 among state schools with the highest percentage of graduates employed in Florida. Affordable tuition, programs in high-demand fields, and faculty who care. Swoop into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Welcome back. Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water. It's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Jaguars.com, free website, and Jaguars YouTube. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up this Sunday.
We got 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah, you might want to write that down.
I got
so
it.
You're here on time.
I got it written down. I just wanted to make sure.
That's right.
To confirm it.
It should be a fantastic day, fantastic crowd.
Good weather, I think, is on the schedule.
That would be positive. And the game is presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. Visit rbafla.com. So the Texans have won here for the last 5 times they've made the trip to Jacksonville. The Jaguars are trying to snap that skid at home against their division rival. And no injury report has been announced yet for today, but we can tell you that Zay Jones was on it yesterday with a knee issue. And be curious to see. I didn't see him out there on the practice field today, at least in the open media period. So we'll see when they officially announce it what his true status is today. But didn't feel like that was trending the right way, at least yesterday with the start of the week. Did not practice yesterday. Antonio Johnson still has not practiced, at least yesterday. This is all yesterday. Josh Allen limited yesterday. Andrew Winger with a shoulder injury limited yesterday. Sheriff was not injury related. Did not practice fully. Fatukasi with a shoulder issue did not practice as well. That was all on Wednesday. Again, no Thursday report is out there as of yet. And the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, health-wise, if Zay's not ready to roll, then what do you do at wide receiver in his spot?
Well, I think you got some options. One option is that you play a different personnel grouping where you're not playing a lot of 3 wide receivers, which means you could go to multiple tight ends. Which go, typically for people that don't know, when we say 11 personnel, that means 1 running back, 1 tight end, and then 3 receivers, which your 3 are obviously Ridley, Christian Kirk, and then Zay, which are the predominant 3 wide receivers that you play in the ball game. So if Zay is hurt and can't go, so you could play an extra tight end. You could play Farrell and then Evan Ingram. Another way to do that is you just plug and play the next wide receiver, which could be Tim Jones. It could be Agnew. Agnew is a very valuable guy just because, and the coaches have said this multiple times about how smart he is and that he can play all 3 positions, which a lot of guys can't do that. Okay, it's not easy to learn all 3 positions. I mean, if you think about it, you got 3 different wide receiver positions and they're all doing something different on every play. And Jamal can literally tell you exactly what every guy is supposed to do on every play, which, that's where you want to be if you're a veteran guy, but not everybody can be there. They got to focus in on just what they're supposed to do. So Jamal is, I think, a valuable player in that aspect. And Tim Jones, we've seen in the past, when called upon, he's done a really good job on top of the special teams responsibilities that he has. Could you elevate one of the rookie players? You might. Parker Washington, Elijah Cooks, are possibilities.
Or at least have them active.
I would guess that personnel group change and or you just have Tim Jones and Agnew step into that role like you did in the game, right? When Zay went out, you had Agnew and Tim Jones in there.
That's what it is.
I'd be fine.
Yeah.
The one thing, though, that you do lose, which is Zay is a legitimate deep threat guy. Is Tim Jones that guy? Probably not. Is Agnew that guy? Probably not. But those 2 guys also have a skill set that I think is advantageous over Zay's. For example, Agnew, shiftiness, after the catch. He's a dynamic returner, so we know about his ability to perform in space. And Tim Jones is a very reliable receiver with very good hands. His catch percentage is high. Zay's catch percentage this year at least has been a little bit lower. But Zay's got a great double move. Trevor's talked about it before, that Zay's got, the best double move on the team, he said last year. So you lose a little bit of that. But I think they'll be fine. I mean, they've got Christian and Calvin and Evan. I mean, those three pretty good right there now. Pretty good.
Coming up in about 5 minutes, the Doug Pederson Show. And that's on the Jaguars Radio Network. Head coach Doug Pederson will join us in studio. We'll get his thoughts about the week and getting back on the practice field after what he said wasn't a great practice week last week for the team, and kind of showed up in the game, obviously. The situational football last week on offense left a lot to be desired. They didn't score a touchdown last week, and there's a big divisional game coming up, so there's a lot to talk about with the head coach tonight, Logs.
There'll be a lot to talk about, and I think coaches sometimes they want to move past and just look forward sometimes, especially on a Thursday. But Doug's been willing to talk about last week because the one thing about as a coach is that you learn from the past so that you can move forward. And so you don't want to dwell on the past, but you got to be able to certainly look back and reflect and take something from it. And I'm sure that he has done that with his team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doug's a good football coach, man. Really good football coach. Now, I don't know if I would have gone for it on the 4th and 12 from the 16.
Okay. No, not
he's a little bit more aggressive than me.
You don't share that philosophy, huh? Okay.
Well, I mean, he's an offensive-minded coach. Typically, offensive guys are a little bit more aggressive.
You think?
Than a guy that
sure.
was kind of raised with a defensive background.
I mean, you got to remember, this is a guy that ran the Philly special in the Super Bowl.
I know.
I mean, come on.
Bold,
That's
man.
what they're going to do.
But he's bold.
They're going to try the double pass thing, with Christian Kirk throwing it from time to time.
I love those plays when they work.
Well, yeah, everybody loves them when they work. That's kind of part of the deal. That's part of the risk.
That's right. What's the famous term? Who said this? No risk it, no biscuit.
Oh, in Tampa. Arians.
Bruce Arians.
Yeah,
no risk it, no biscuit.
It's true. Hey, sometimes you got to put it out there.
When in the world did he come up with that? Late at night.
He won a Super Bowl, did he?
Yeah, he's pretty good now.
Yeah.
And he's got a great personality. But it's a great term, no risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah, that's what.
But I will say that I was on board the 4th and 5 at midfield.
You were?
Yeah. Was it 4th and 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Right before halftime.
Yeah, go. I was okay with that.
He explained it as the defense was playing pretty well. Okay, well.
I got scolded by everybody else in the booth. What do you mean? Can't do that. I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Well, they go down and score a touchdown. And then the Jags go down and kick a field goal. So it's 7-3. I mean, so, yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty confident the way they were playing defense. You were thinking they'd get a stop. But yeah, that's the great thing about being a head coach. You make those bold decisions that can get widely second-guessed, and they rarely get second-guessed when they work. It's when they don't work.
Yeah.
It's when they get second-guessed to a higher degree.
And now the other part of it, too, is you can make the right call, and then somebody just drops the ball or runs the wrong way or does whatever.
Or doesn't block this 320-pound guy wearing 95.
The coaches and the play callers can only do so much, right?
Chris Jones totally annihilated that play, the 4th and 5.
Yeah.
You had Christian, who was going to be open. Trevor can't even see him for this 95 in red and white.
Yeah.
It's like
stands out.
It's like trying to see a ship, okay, behind a barge. Okay, you're trying to see a fishing boat behind a barge. 95 being the barge.
Okay.
Chris Jones, big man.
Yes.
He destroyed a lot of plays in that game.
He's done it throughout his career, in fact, not just this past Sunday. We'll hear from the head coach coming up. The Doug Pederson Show just moments away. He'll be in studio with us to get ready for Week 3 against the Texans. And that'll do it for Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show. Brought to you by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome in. It's week 3, the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida, from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson. Good afternoon. What's up, Coach?
Good afternoon, guys. Hey, not much. Just getting ready for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, week 3 here. You know, you said earlier in the week, after going into the game against into that game against the Chiefs, and then coming into the practice field this week, that last week's practices were not up to par. How did the team respond so far this week?
They responded extremely well. We didn't have our best week of practice for who knows, for many reasons. And yet the guys, this is what I appreciate about our team, the resiliency of our football team, how they bounce back, how they respond, and responded with a really good practice, yesterday, and really attack the day, and I'm trying to do my part too by trying to keep them as fresh as I can. And I came out of pads about halfway through practice, took the shoulder pads off, and let them run around in their shorts and spider shells and all of that. But I'm trying to do the things that a head coach should do to try to make sure his players are ready to go, and the guys responded extremely well.
When you have an offense, okay, that the expectations are high, which is, you didn't shy away from it at the beginning of the season, how do you have a sense of urgency, but at the same time as a coach, not trying to have a panic atmosphere through the whole situation?
Yeah, and there's kind of a fine line there, because sometimes the sense of urgency feels like panic, and yet, you want to. A sense of urgency is just, listen, we've got one of the things we didn't do a very good job of is getting into the huddle, out of the huddle, getting lined up, getting even the calls from the sideline to either the quarterback or to Foye on defense. We do a better job there. Coaches can help facilitate that, and just having that sense of urgency of just lining up out of the huddle and presenting the looks both offensively and defensively, we can do a much better job there. And then, just how our mindset, just how we attack the play. And, and obviously it starts with the offensive line and defensive line, and can try to control the line of scrimmage right there and being physical. And then that kind of feeds off to everybody else. But, and your quarterback, you want to have that sort of that energetic leadership sort of style during those types of games, and those are all things that I can help kind of facilitate throughout the course of the week, and just understand that that's the direction that we need to go.
You talked about it, the offensive line. DeForest Buckner week 1. Last week is Chris Jones. We know the challenge this week. Will Anderson, some really good talent on the interior in Houston as well. But how has the O-line stepped up this week with a lot of eyeballs on them, really?
Yeah, and it takes it takes a few weeks to kind of settle in and gel. I think the one thing and this is why I try to play my guys as much as I can in preseason for this early season mentality. And it takes a little bit for those guys to gel, but they've responded extremely well this week, and I've had some really good practices. And really, it's just all about communication, getting guys on the same page, and obviously that starts with Luke, and then that branches out to the tackles from there. But that's where we can sort of ride the shoulders of the offensive line, or ride the backs of the offensive line, especially when they're rolling, right? When we're ripping off 6, 7, 8 yard runs. Well, let's keep that momentum going, right? And let's keep that sort of that drive and that fire that the offense feels, and that's all part of that sense of urgency that we need to feel.
Well, you talk about Trevor's energy and how he is on the field. And body language is always so important for a quarterback, because, everybody's always watching you, whether you want them to watch you or not. How has his body language been this week, and how has his energy been this week?
It's been good. I think he understood after going back and watching last week's game, just the opportunities that were missed. Yeah, and for him to be in that elite category, right? He's got to be able to make those types of plays and do things right, and he learns from that. We all learn from that, and we coach better. Obviously, we can put our guys in better situations, but his leadership ability hasn't changed. He's still the guy. He still rallies the troops. He still wants to get extra work with his receivers and tight ends, on the side and throw, and he does a great job, sitting with Luke and the offensive lineman and going through protection calls and all that. And that's what you want out of your starter. And we've seen that this week. And again, it's not that panic mentality, but it's just having a little bit more sense of urgency, understanding where we are. And the fact that, we have a chance to be 2-0 in our division, at the end of the week.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us on the Doug Pederson Show. Well, on the defensive side of the ball, they're playing winning ball, really, the first couple weeks. And you can't ask for a whole lot more than that. Second in the league in takeaways. They held the Chiefs to 17 last week. A collective effort to get that done on the defensive side, and they deserve a tip of the cap, really.
Yeah, defensively, they're playing extremely well in these first 2 weeks. They're creating takeaways, which is what we've been talking about a lot from the offseason on through training camp, and the ability to stop the run and kind of minimize that and really, put the ball in the air. And when the ball is in the air, we're doing a nice job in the coverage. Our communication is much better. Guys are in the right spots. We're creating some interceptions back there. Cisco had a big one last week and almost had two, from Patrick Mahomes. And so we've got to just continue to ride that momentum, as well. And those guys have really, for 2 weeks in a row now, really kept the offense in both football games until the first week. And Indy offense kind of caught their second win late in that football game. And then even last week, having a chance to go down and tie the game, there at the end.
Watching the first two games, the one guy that's really stood out to me is Foye Oluokun. I mean, just the leadership that he shows, getting guys lined up, but then to have the ability to do all of that and to still focus in on his job and play at a high level impresses me to no end.
It really is, and he's a tremendous leader. He's a captain for a reason, obviously, and it was warm last week, but his energy and his motor kept going.
Does he ever get tired?
It didn't seem like it. I know he does. He falls exhausted when he comes off the field, and sits on the bench. He's exhausted, but he just gasses up and gets ready to go. But he's a great leader over there. He does a great job of communication, getting the guys lined up, controlling the defensive front and the back end with the safeties and all of that. So just someone that's very valuable to that defense right now.
Let's take a look at the Houston Texans and start off with the pride of Jess Lanier High School in Bessemer, Alabama, D'Amico Ryans, first-year head coach, longtime linebacker in this league, cut his teeth as a defensive coach in San Francisco. It's a quick rise to a head coaching role. What do you know about D'Amico, and what do you like about him?
Yeah, as a person, he's a tremendous person, great human being, just well-spoken and just a great guy. And he's kind of come up through sort of that Dan Quinn, Seattle type defense. He was with Saleh, obviously in San Francisco, kind of came up through there, and Saleh and the Jets and what they've done now, and of course they've built a defense in San Francisco that they went out and got some defensive linemen and some linebackers, and so now in Houston, this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to build it through the front, get the linebackers that they need and guys that have been in this system before. I'll tell you this, one of the things that you see when you put the film on, and it doesn't take many plays to see it, is how fast these guys are playing and how aggressive these guys are playing. And that's a direct credit to D'Amico and the leadership that he's bringing to that football team. You see it on the offensive side as well, but his emphasis obviously is defense, and these guys play hard, and it's kind of been my message this week. Like, this might be an 0-2 football team right now, but they're not playing like it, and they're playing extremely fast.
Yeah, and watching them, they obviously like to build through the front, but that's kind of in process. And you watch that front seven, you can tell that it's, I don't want to be critical, but it's not an overly talented group. But what they have in the back end, even though they've been missing some guys because of injury, that's a pretty good group that will challenge your wide receivers in your passing game.
Yeah, I like the secondary of Houston and their safeties in particular, and really these guys are great. And again, it's when you watch the San Francisco tape, because we had to watch a little San Fran to kind of get a feel, and then a couple games here with Houston, but those same thing. Those safeties in San Fran, they're downhill guys. They're aggressive. They're around the line of scrimmage. I mean, and now Houston, same way. These guys are around the box. They're creating eight-man fronts. They're keeping everything in front of them. They're creating some takeaways or at least some forced fumbles and things of that nature. And really, again, just playing aggressive and fast. And it's an impressive thing to watch.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, I'm not a diehard junkie for the draft, but, Doug, I typically watch, the top 100 guys, just so I know what the hell I'm talking about when it comes to our radio show.
Good idea.
Okay. And watching Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I was a total fan of C.J. Stroud. When he was at Ohio State, he just threw the ball effortlessly. He had the height. He had the size. He seemed to make big throws in key moments, and a lot of people want to hype it up as well. He had all this talent around him at Ohio State. Well, look, I'm watching him now, and here he is, no interceptions. He's throwing the ball around, and he's doing it again effortlessly.
It's his progression obviously into the NFL. That was probably one of the things, from college to the NFL and taking over as a starter. Where was he going to go in the whole thing? And you're exactly right. I mean, a couple of touchdown passes in the first couple of games, no interceptions. He's protecting the football. They're utilizing his strength, and that's the ability to get out of the pocket and throw on the run. And really, when he's in the pocket, too, he's able to make some really good, impressive throws. And like you said, the ball comes out effortlessly. It's a nice spiral. It's pretty accurate at times. And it's just something you can work with right there. And I know they're young, and they're still working through some growing pains, but I really feel like he's going to be a good player in this league for a long time, and obviously that's the reason why they drafted him when they did.
Division game at home. Good chance to get back on track this week and get one in the back pocket. This would be a big one, right?
This would be big. AFC South, another opponent here at home, and we got a rebound from last week. We didn't play our best football last week, and that was disappointing. But a chance to get back on track this weekend.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Head Coach Doug Pederson with us. The Texans-Jaguars game presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. Visit rbafla.com. Chris Myers of Fox Sports in about 15 minutes. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks and kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime.
For the touchdown.
Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in studio ahead of week 3. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up at the bank
Big
this
game.
Sunday. Big ball game. They're all big, but this is bigger than most. It's a division game that's coming off a loss that you felt like you didn't play that well as a team. And, you know, he just told us, you know, they got to practice better this week, and feels like at least so far they have. And you got to take a step in the right direction on offense here.
And you know, the question I asked him about making sure that you have a sense of urgency without that sense of panic, I think that's critical.
Fine line.
I think as a coach, you know, you gotta be able to walk that line to demand, but without coming off as he's just a crazed lunatic, and you know we're gonna be okay. You know, but the reality is that they've got to get better. You know, as an offense, they're capable of more. You look, if you had an offense and you're like wallowing around the bottom of the league, and that's kind of what you are, okay, you know, that's, I don't want to say it's acceptable, but it's who you are. But you know that this offense can be capable of so much more, because last year they were so dynamic towards the end of the season when they got rolling, and Trevor was just, I mean, on the money. And right now there's multiple parts of the offense that are not functioning where it needs to function at. And it's all got to get better, you know. But the one thing I think that Doug does a really good job of, and I always had a hard time with this, of appreciating and understanding this as a player. It's not where you are in week 2 or week 3, although all of those games matter at the end of the year because they add them up.
They count.
Okay, they all go into different categories,
yeah,
right?
Keeping score, the wins and losses count.
But you want to be playing your best ball at the end. And so the journey of getting better never ends, and it's constant. It happens through the season. The challenge is that you're trying to get better while also dealing with road bumps that happen along the way, whether it be injuries or what have you. And so it's a challenge. And I think Doug's done a great job last year of making this team just continually get better as the season wore on. And I expect the same thing from him and his staff and this group of players. I think they will.
That's been their MO. That's how they go about it, you know. No panic, just get better, improve.
Well,
And, I'm sure internally any coach is a little more what's the word?
PO'd?
Yes, upset about things the way they went down last week. However, their public presentation of it is imperative to get this team the right way and get the right message across to them.
Well, you got to make sure that you present the right emotion.
That's right.
And the right presentation to the players. You know, look, today Press Taylor got in front of the media.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, when you're the offensive coordinator, I mean, that's just, I mean, part of the gig is that you get second-guessed all the time.
What did he say? I was in Philly for 8 years. I've heard it before.
And I can tell you, Philly is like ground zero for the most criticism that you can get of any NFL franchise. It's Philly, and then it's New York. Okay, but Philly, I would say it's right at the top of the list. And as he said, you know, you've got to have thick skin. And, you know, fortunately for him, he doesn't have time to read the social media or the TV or watch the TV, all those kind of things. But, you know, it's part of the deal. It comes with being an offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinators get criticized way more on a play-by-play basis than a defensive coordinator. It's not even close.
I don't know. Ask Todd Wash about that around here. He took a lot of heat around here.
Well, he did, but not on a play-by-play basis. I mean, JP, you know, the 4th and 5, you were criticizing it earlier.
Was I?
Oh, yeah, you were.
Was I?
Yeah, to me you were.
What, really?
Off air. And then you.
Oh, now we're sharing off air discussions. Now, do you really want to start that game?
I'm just
we can play. It's a two-way street now.
Kidding.
We can go.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, let's come back in a moment. Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home. Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair furniture for fans. Now, I will say, I'm not a huge fan of the double pass with a franchise quarterback throwing it around. That's just me. But I just talk on the radio.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm just glad you waited until Doug left before you said that.
Yeah, I mean, no, come on. I know better than that. This is the Doug Pederson Show. Of course it is on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. The Jaguars host the Houston Texans Sunday. 1 o'clock is the kickoff time at Everbank Stadium, and should be a nice day for football. The Texans have not lost here in a long, long time. The Jaguars trying to snap that skid against a division rival. And, of course, the game this Sunday presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. Visit rbafla.com. Texans offense against this Jaguars defensive group is playing pretty well overall. They've got a rookie quarterback, of course, C.J. Stroud. They've got an offensive line that is just beat to smithereens. Stroud has been hit 19 times and sacked 11 times already in only 2 games. But he hasn't thrown an interception yet, and he's putting up numbers, oddly enough. So what do you think of Stroud so far in 2 games?
We have, you mentioned 58 completions, which is the second most ever for a rookie in his first 2 games.
Ever,
which is impressive.
Wow.
I want to say the record is 60 completions, and I can't remember who. I'll find out in the break. I got it written down somewhere. But going into this next game, he's looking at entering the top 5 as far as passing yards ever for the first 3 games for a rookie, which is crazy. I mean, he's Cam Newton was number 1 for a little over 1,000 yards. Justin Herbert is second at 931. So C.J. Stroud is not far away from kind of approaching the record books in that aspect as well. He's just been impressive. And he doesn't have a great wide receiver group. I mean, he's got one veteran guy and then one guy who I really like who's long and can run. But he doesn't have a running game. That's the part that I think is impressive. And they're putting a lot on his shoulders, and he's handled it. He's handled it very well. And to be able to be safe with the football has been extremely impressive to me because, I mean, look, most rookies make a bad throw here or there. I mean, right?
That's Trevor Lawrence, absolutely.
To cover 2, Anthony Richardson at Indy.
Yeah.
You know, thinks that he's going to throw it over the head of Tyson Campbell. Doesn't put quite enough on it. Ends up being an easy interception for Tyson Campbell. You haven't seen a mistake like that by C.J. Stroud. The one part that I don't think he's doing a very good job of, and that's protecting himself. And that you brought up the 11 sacks, and he's been hit how many times? 19 times.
That's a lot.
Okay. He does not do a good job of protecting himself once he's leaving the pocket. He takes hits unnecessarily. What I mean is that he can just throw the ball away and avoid the hit. At times he doesn't do that, and at times when he does scramble, he's not very good at learning when to slide and where to slide. I mean, he's taken some shots. Yeah. I mean, big-time shots. He took a shot against the Ravens. I was like, I can't believe he got up. He took a helmet-to-helmet contact from what was the linebacker that the Ravens acquired from the Bears in the trade, Roquan Smith. Mm-hmm. Okay, Roquan comes in and just drills him. Right. But it was a legal hit because he becomes a runner at that point, and he's not trying to protect himself by going feet first. He was going like head first. And so he's got to do a better job with that after this game.
Yeah, starting in week 4. How about that?
Yes, not in week 3.
How about that? All right, that's C.J. Stroud. A little more on the Texans coming up later on the Doug Pederson Show. Up next, though, Chris Myers of the NFL on Fox. He'll have the call of the game this Sunday here at the bank. We'll get his thoughts on what the Texans are up to.
And he's working with the former great Vikings running back, Robert Smith.
Correct.
One of my all-time favorites, a super smart guy, had a great career, big member of the NFL Players Association, was vice president of it. Super guy.
Chris Myers. When we come back, it's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with you. Jeff Lageman back with us in just a little bit. Chris Myers hosts NASCAR coverage and much more on Fox Sports. And he has a full slate yet again of NFL games, including this week. He'll call the Texans-Jaguars matchup at Everbank Stadium this Sunday. Well, Fox covering an AFC game. In the past, that wouldn't even be a possibility with the way the TV networks set it up. No rules anymore, though, when it comes to networks and conference affiliation.
Yeah, it's a wide open with double games on Monday night and Thursday on Amazon, and it's affected the inventory the way we used to see it. But the playoffs will still have mostly AFC on CBS, NFC on Fox, and then the Super Bowl. But even that could shift and change with certain streaming devices. But hey, it's a lot of money, good for the NFL. It opens up more viewing opportunities in different ways, I think, for fans to see games. But I'm originally from Florida, so I always enjoy getting back to Florida to do a game. But I actually did the game last year with the Jags. It was a rough one for them when they went to Detroit. We were expecting big things, and then after that, obviously they didn't play well in that game, but after that they took off and then really changed their view nationally when they had that playoff win and that comeback against the Chargers.
That really was the wake-up call down the stretch for this team last season. It might be too early for that kind of wake-up call, but last week might qualify against the Chiefs when you don't score a touchdown for an offense that's so widely regarded coming in. They've got to get it together pretty quick.
Yeah, it was shocking a little, and it is. It's only a couple of games, so the teams are sorting things out. But I would say this offense will come around, especially having been around Doug Pederson, and I was the field sideline reporter when he was the coach with the Eagles and had that amazing run to the Super Bowl and title. So was a part of that and around him, and so I'm not surprised he's doing well with Jacksonville and his quick imprint here. But I would say the good news is the defense, which I think everybody has questions, or at least did coming into the year, even with all that talent, right, that they're supposed to have. They've been very impressive, and I think that's the positive in the Chiefs game. I'm just surprised because I don't think the Chiefs have an outstanding defense that the Jags couldn't put up more points. I mean, I followed the notes, I heard the comments about a week of practice and that type of thing, and certain things that didn't work out. But I would expect the offense to come around. I mean, if the defense can keep playing like they're playing and improving, because that's still on their minds, then I think the Jags are going to be okay.
Chris Myers, NFL on Fox. How tough a climb is this for DeMeco Ryans in Houston? And it helps when you have a second and third overall pick to really jumpstart your franchise.
Yeah, big leap for him. We did their Colts game there. Robert Smith and I called that, and there's an offensive line. They can't run the ball. I mean, I know they have Houston has this record historically against the Jags. Was it 9 out of the last 10 or whatever? But this Houston team is going through a major transition, and DeMeco is a guy who could have had the Broncos job. Told us, I brought it up. He said, I wanted to come to Houston, not just because I played here, but I wanted to be a part of turning things around and creating that atmosphere, that successful atmosphere that was here once before. So you can respect him for that. Defensive-minded coach, brings Bobby Slowick over, offensive coordinator for the 49ers under the Kyle Shanahan tree, who's kind of a young first-time play caller learning on the job. But C.J. Stroud showed us something in the second half, over 220 passing yards against the Colts, who have a very good defense, very underrated defense, with some talented players, putting up some big numbers without really any kind of a running game and running for his life most of the time because of that offensive line, and they have some skilled position players. So I thought we'd see a little more, and again, it's early, and it's gelling, and they were missing their starting safeties. I thought we'd see a little better defense from the Texans just because of the kind of coach DeMeco is and the way he works with his guys. But I think he's still finding his way with who's healthy there. So they have a little bit of an opposite problem. Not that their offense is going to light it up, but Stroud can throw the ball. I mean, I saw him in college do it, and I was like, it's NFL level. He's a guy to watch, and I think with the right kind of support can be a star in the league.
Chris Myers of Fox Sports contributes to the network's NFL, NASCAR, Major League Baseball, Premier Boxing, and Westminster Kennel Club dog show coverage. He does it all for Fox Sports. He's got the call of the game this Sunday on Fox for the Texans and the Jaguars. The full conversation coming Saturday on the official Jaguars podcast network. We'll return with the Jaguars offensive line, and Jeff Lageman back with us. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Everyone wins when two great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan Nacho Carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. The Texans and the Jaguars coming up. The 1 o'clock kickoff time Sunday at Everbank Stadium. Should be a great crowd again. The Jaguars at 1-1. The Texans at 0-2. Well, we all know what happened last week on offense. It's been, we've talked about it all day and all week, and it will be a topic until it is not a topic anymore, and that's the lack of execution in big moments, certainly at the goal line. The red zone was 0 for 3 last week. Trevor Lawrence was 0 for 7 passing in the red zone last week. The offensive line, Chris Jones got loose against them a handful of times, most of the day. Let's go to that offensive line. That's been a real – because that's where it begins. If the line has issues, then the quarterback, in theory, has issues after that, and it just kind of rolls downhill the wrong way. But they know they have to play better. Talking to some of those guys in the locker room this week, they understand that's not good enough, and it's just a matter of going out there and trying to play together better as a unit. Right?
Yeah, and a lot of people, I think a lot of people's reaction is change the lineup, put somebody else in. And that's not always the right answer. And when you come out of the preseason nowadays in the National Football League, because of the limited amount of playing time, I think sometimes things can be a little rough. And not all teams are coming out of the preseason like that, but this team certainly has come out of it a little bit rough. And you got to give it time to gel. And you got to also kind of stick with your plan of saying, hey, look, the reason that we have these 5 guys starting week 1 and that we're going to stick with them through week 3 and also the weeks coming is because they have a belief and an understanding that that's the best 5 that gives them the best chance to win. Excuse me, and they just need to play a little bit better across the board. And if they take a little step this week and getting better, and then the next week you take a little step, then you keep taking all these steps, all of a sudden you're at a place where you want to be. And this week, I think, is an easier week to take that step, because the Texans don't present a challenge like Brenson Buckner, like Chris Jones, like 90 for the Indianapolis Colts. What's his name? The other defensive tackle that lines up alongside Buckner.
Did you say Brenson Buckner?
Did I say
you said Brenson Buckner. He's the defensive
Excuse
line
me.
coach. DeForest,
DeForest Buckner.
Yes. I was like,
Sorry.
wait a minute. It's been flashbacks.
DeForest Buckner. And so when you've got guys like that, those are challenge guys.
Yeah, right.
And when the Chiefs lined up Chris Jones on the outside against Anton Harrison, I went, in the chess game of moves, that was one of the better ones, because you have a rookie tackle, which I would be surprised if the Jaguars were expecting that. But Joe Cullen, the old defensive coordinator that was here in 2021 and then was the coach of the Rushmen for many years here in Jacksonville, a highly respected defensive line coach, he takes Chris Jones and puts him out over Anton Harrison. Harrison is a rookie. He's a rookie that came out of the preseason with a right shoulder that was a little bit of a concern. And what better way to test that shoulder out from a power standpoint than to put Chris Jones over there? So I give the Chiefs defensive coaching staff, and I don't know if that was Steve Spagnuolo or Joe Cullen, but it was a great move, and it paid off. But I will say that Chris Jones didn't just make hay over Anton Harrison.
Yeah, he wasn't alone out there, by the way, because
pretty
Jones
much
was moving around.
Pretty much everywhere he lined up, he did well, and including over the veteran Brandon Sheriff, which, you'd like to have your veteran guy play well against Chris Jones. But, Sheriff, the one thing that he has struggled with in the past is with the power game. Super athletic, but you put him in a phone booth with a big, strong guy, that's where he struggles a little bit, or can struggle a little bit. And Chris Jones is just an absolute freak. I mean, there's not many guys like that in the National Football League.
That's why he held out.
If you had to name the most dominant defensive front guys in the league, okay, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, he's
you're starting
one.
there.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, he's number 2.
Right there.
Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett.
Sure.
Who else would you put in?
Forrest Buckner in there, right?
He's pretty close.
Yeah.
He's in the top 10 for sure, probably.
They traded first-round picks for him, and he plays big.
But, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, those guys are elite. I mean, elite. And they didn't seem to have an answer once Chris Jones started to line up out there. And that's a challenge, and it's not easy. You wish your rookie was able to throw the anchor out a little bit, but Chris Jones kind of went back to the same move every time. Power rush rip to the outside. And he's a big man, strong man. But I wasn't expecting that.
No. So
I thought they'd put him over against Barch, because the week before, Ben struggled against Buckner, okay? DeForest Buckner, not Brenson Buckner.
Okay, good.
Struggled against Buckner.
Right.
And so I thought that they would put him over there, which, I mean, I'm sure, look, any offensive lineman going into a game and all of a sudden you see Chris Jones come your way, you're just going,
oh, boy.
Oh, here we go.
This is going to be a rep right here. Yeah, we're going to get one. That's what it is.
And that's the way it is when you're going against a great player. You just, buckle up and throw the anchor and try to hold on. And the one thing about Chris is that Chris is just so powerful, and he has moves. He's got a really nice swim move. The first thing you think about with Chris Jones is power, right? And so as an offensive lineman, you're trying to sit on that power. Well, then when he does that little swim move, you're kind of anchoring down, and all of a sudden he does that little slip move, and you know what you're left blocking? Air. Nothing but air. Challenge. But there's not a 95 this week. There might be a 95 jersey number, but not a 95 in ability.
Not the powerful 95.
Is there a 95 on the Texans?
I'm sure there is. I mean, there's only so many numbers.
There is. It's Derek Rivers, the newly signed off the practice squad, Derek Rivers.
There you go. Derek Rivers.
Yeah.
Is not the same.
But that's not Chris Jones.
I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Derek Rivers tape, but I must say I'm going to guess he's not Chris Jones.
Well, he's 6'5", 250. He's not Chris Jones.
No.
Yeah.
Most aren't. We're back in a moment, and the injury report. We'll update that. It has been announced. Both teams. We will take a look when we return. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner and guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Milquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks and kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. Texans Jaguars coming up Sunday, 1 o'clock the kickoff time at Everbank Stadium. Then it's off to London. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Business to attend to first before the Jags hop across the Atlantic. The injury report has been announced for Thursday. We'll go through the Jaguars players who are listed. Zay Jones, for the second straight day, did not practice with a knee injury. That's not trending well at all. So you would imagine at least not practicing 2 days. Well, we'll see what happens Friday. But knee issue for Zay at the wide receiver spot. Antonio Johnson has not practiced yet. A hamstring injury for the rookie safety out of A&M. Josh Allen limited with a shoulder issue again today. Andrew Wingard limited again today with a shoulder issue. Brandon Sheriff was back. He missed yesterday, not injury related, with a personal matter. He was full today. And Foley Fatukasi with a shoulder injury did not practice Wednesday, limited today. That's a step in the right direction. Now, to the Texans. They have a long list, by the way, and a lot of it's in the secondary.
A little bit of this, just a quick little note here. Their general manager comes from the New England Patriots school of thought when it comes to injury reports, Nick Caserio.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Wasn't Tom Brady on it for like 12 years straight or something ridiculous?
Yes, and so, a little bit of gamesmanship happening with the injury report in Houston nowadays.
Questionable with a wrist or whatever. All right, so this is Denzel Perryman, linebacker, hand and wrist injury, has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday. Jalen Petrie, safety, chest injury, did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. Tavier Thomas, cornerback, hand issue, has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday. Derek Stingley Jr. was not on the report Wednesday, injured his hamstring in practice, did not practice today. Derek Stingley, the cornerback, first-round pick. He had a hamstring injury a lot last season as well. So those are the major ones. Most everybody else, Laramie Tunsil limited yesterday and today, the tackle with a knee issue. The rest were full today. There were a bunch of guys limited yesterday. All the rest of those guys are back full.
All right,
I won't
so
go through them all.
Looking at that injury report, okay, Stingley, hamstring, practice yesterday. Okay, starting corner. Starting corner.
Yes.
Okay. Tavier Thomas, hand, did not practice today, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's your starting nickel corner.
No.
Okay, Jimmy Ward, what did he do?
Ward, full today.
Okay, he was full.
He was limited yesterday, full today, the safety.
Okay, he was inactive this past game with a hip, okay, starting safety. Jalen Petrie.
Yeah.
Did not practice today,
he
correct?
was out 2 days in a row.
With a chest.
Yep.
Okay, so you're looking at, with Stingley and Tavier Thomas, 2 starting corners, okay, a nickel and a corner, and then Jalen Petrie, a safety. You're looking at 3 out of 5 of the defensive backs possibly may not be available for this game Sunday.
Yeah. And then you throw in Denzel Perryman, linebacker, on top of that. He's
a good football player.
Right? I mean, that's a lot of guys.
Yeah, he's a veteran player. He's active. He's physical. He's fast. And if they don't have him, it'll be interesting now because they are young. Okay, so To'o, did I say that right?
Henry To'o.
To'o. Henry To'o, first-year player out of Alabama as a linebacker. And then they've got a very young linebacker on the other side, Christian Harris, with Perryman in the middle, and he's kind of been that glue, that veteran guy in the middle. Now you take that away, now you're going to be a little bit concerned if you're a defensive coordinator because who's going to be the captain of the ship?
That's right. It's true.
I mean, you got to have a linebacker that can step up in front of the huddle, that can call adjustments, et cetera, that can communicate with the defensive line and the linebacking unit. I don't know if they've got another guy that they trust to that level.
Well, you're about to find out if that's the case,
And what is Perryman's thing? What is his injury?
Hand/wrist.
Hand/wrist. And what is Tavier Thomas?
Hand.
Some hand injuries. Okay. All right, it'll be interesting.
Something to watch. You might want to write that down, Logs.
I got it.
Okay, good. You got it on your sheet.
I got it on my sheet. You know me, man. I got everything written down on my sheet for game day, baby.
That's what you do. But you got to take advantage of that. If that's going to be the case for Houston on defense.
And that may be part of the gamesmanship, Tavier Thomas.
I mean, I don't know about that. You don't practice for
2 days in a row. That's a concern. Now, with a veteran guy like Perryman,
maybe different.
It's a little bit different. And Tavier Thomas is a veteran guy too.
But a lot of times you'll see don't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday, full go Friday, and you're good.
Right.
Like that's the normal.
Yeah, the trend in the right direction.
Yeah. The old trend. Yeah.
Could be a little gamesmanship. You never know.
So
they can't lie, though.
Can't lie.
Yeah, you can't. If
you practice today and you can't say you didn't practice.
For example, like when we go out to practice, okay, the first 20 minutes of practice are available to the media. Mm-hmm. So a coach can't, for example, like if I'm D'Amico Ryans, okay, the media's out there and I don't have Tavier Thomas and I don't have Denzel Perryman practicing. Okay, the media's out there. They see that they're not practicing. Okay, now the media is no longer allowed to watch. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of game planning. Media now leaves the practice field. I can't all of a sudden take Denzel Perryman and Tavier Thomas and bring them out of a closet and say, all right, guys, come on out and you can practice now. You can't do that. I mean, the league would come down on you so big with such a massive fine if you were lying on the injury report about practice participation. So when I say there's gamesmanship, there probably is a lot of gamesmanship about what the exact nature of the injury is. And then once they designate a player as questionable or doubtful, then I think there can be gamesmanship there. Because there's a guy, I'm sure there's guys all the time that are, they're going to play.
Doubtful.
And he's questionable. Coin flip, because that's what coin. Yeah,
and he comes running out of the tunnel on Sunday, ready to go.
100 miles an hour and looks fresh and new.
Not the old Mark Brunell thing. He was injured all week, and then he comes running out of the tunnel. Here he comes.
Yeah, I wonder what the fine would be.
I don't even want to know.
And who would get fined? The club would get fined.
Yeah.
The head coach, does the general manager get fined?
I don't know.
If they're lying on a weekly injury report, I don't know that.
You might lose if it's that bad. They could go after some draft picks too. You never know.
Ooh.
Hey, let's come back. Our final thoughts. It's week 3 coming up, and All Access TV tonight as well.
Excited.
This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free Coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Taylor Dahl here for Renewal by Anderson. You will love your new custom windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. The first 50 callers get a free upgrade to TrueScene window screens. Plus, easy payment plans tailored to fit your budget. Offer expires August 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson, the opening segment each and every week. Joining us in studio on Thursdays, Chris Myers has the call of the game on the NFL on Fox. We heard from him. The full conversation on the official Jaguars podcast network coming up Saturday. The Texans-Jaguars game presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. Visit rbafla.com. Thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber, Andrea Curry, Eric Waringa, William Pease, Kate Waskey for their assistance on the programs today. Logs, what do you think?
Well, doesn't Chris Myers do the preseason Tampa Bay Buccaneer games?
He might.
I thought he did.
He might. Yeah, he might.
Thought I've seen him there a couple times.
How you feeling about this one?
Kind of anxious a little bit.
Anxious?
Yeah, I mean, anxious just because it's a game in which if the Texans come out and play well early, I think you can have a team that all of a sudden starts to tighten up a little bit. Because, this Jaguars football team offensively, especially if they don't play well early on, you wonder how the reaction would be. And then, again, when you play a team that you're I don't want to say expected to beat but yeah, you are. You're expected to beat the Texans.
Yeah.
You give them early life, they gain confidence in a big way. And it's a challenge now. If you don't put pressure on that young quarterback, he will make you pay.
Jaguars All Access tonight. Who you got? Quick.
Christian Kirk.
Wide receiver, Strings.
Kai and Brett Martineau.
All the above.
Yep.
Strings Sports Brewery tonight. 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. That'll do it for the Doug Pederson Show. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.